Wilson Morales from Black Film and TV. Hey, Adam, how's it going?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. It's been a while since we saw you in this type of film genre, not just drama. What went to saying yes to taking on this role?
What about this? It was that it was a big scale movie. It was dinosaurs and laser guns and ships crashing and but that also that it was really about these two people who were completely uh, you know different backgrounds facing this same thing. And really it was about found family from two people who had kind of lost family that there and you were making a hopefully a nuanced story in a big scale, which I kind of feel is rare. It always seems like the bigger the movies get, the less specific they get. But in this one, um, we really tried to make it a family movie that everyone could access, but still not shortchanging an audience's intelligence and create characters that are three-dimensional.
Unlike the other big projects you've done, this was, no less of a big project, but you're working opposite one other person and just green screen. Did it feel like theater?
Uh, yeah, I kind of forgot that there was just a couple of us because there's the crew. So there was still like a ton of people, and I forgot that we weren't talking so much because in between takes we were talking all the time about what we were doing physically to tell the story. So by that point we were really, it's like when you watch people in the beginning part that we watch crew at the beginning of a film set versus the end of a film set. I literally just wrapped something last night, and two days ago I watched them set up a light. It was like and they did it in complete silence because everyone was communicating. And by that point, they had spent 4 months with each other, that no one needed to say anything because everyone knew exactly the process. And that's kind of what shooting this movie was like. By that point, you're so in sync with the crew and the other actors that it feels like you've been talking the whole time, and only when you put it together you're like, we're not saying shit to each other.
True. Okay, so then I guess as we're running out of time, how do you relate to Commander Mills, and what did you get out of the direction, that helps your skill set as an actor as you go on to other projects?
With this one in particular,
Yeah.
uh I don't know. It was just the experience of doing something where you're, kind of exactly what I've been saying, like big things with, but really, uh, uh, the heart of the movie is actually really small. When the spectacle of the movie doesn't get overwhelm, what I feel like people really would like to see is human connection. Something that they can relate to. I mean, that's the great thing about films. I mean, sure, there's movies where the spectacle is the dominating thing, and those, completely have value. But I always have been more interested in things where you actually care about, the people, and you won't care if they're in danger if you don't care about them. You know.
Well, it's good to see you in a different type of genre film, but I'm sure fans will get a kick out of it, so that we can see your face as opposed to something else. And so, we'll talk down the road on other projects you'll have down, later on in the future. So have a good one.
Okay. All right. Thank you. You too.
Wilson Morales from Black Film and TV. Hello, Ariana. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. So how different was it shooting this movie when it's just you and somebody else as opposed to the other projects you've done in the past?
Yeah, this was my first time doing a film where it was like a one-on-one situation. It was really cool, and I definitely got to spend a lot of time with Adam and watch him do his thing. And I think he's a great actor, so spending that much time with him was super fun, and I got to learn a lot from him.
Are you a fan of sci-fi, of that genre?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of every genre. Something about me, I guess people just like to see me be an alien for some reason. Something about me, people like to see me either green or speak a different language, but I love sci-fi. I think it's great, and I think there's so much creativity involved, and I think it's, yeah, fun.
And for this role that you're playing, I can think whenever any actor takes on a role, there's got to be something within the character that they're playing that they can relate with. What was it that when you saw this character, whether it be the size, the whole script, or when you started playing her, that was a little bit like yourself?
Yeah, for sure. I think something that I think a habit that I do in my normal life that I kind of put onto Koa is whenever we see her walking around, just like bored or, going on the journey, you see her a lot of the time, like either like picking the leaves off or just like playing with the flowers or whatever. Like she's very fidgety. And I think that's also because I was like, okay, she's really young and she's bored and she doesn't know what's going on. So like, let's just have her fidget with things. And that's something I do all the time. Like I fidget with my rings, and like if I'm like outside wherever, I just like, I'm very fidgety. I think that's something I kind of put on with Koa as a personality trait for sure. And then also I think she definitely didn't enjoy her environment and getting attacked, and she's definitely scared in the beginning. And I'm a scaredy cat when it comes to getting chased by things. I fight or flight and I'm out of there. I'm flying. So that's definitely something I relate to, but Koa is much stronger and braver than me for sure.
When you do a movie like this where it's just you and somebody else, and obviously when we were during COVID times, we were all hunkered in our own little spot. But when it's just you and Adam, what do you get with working with him as well as the director that you can take on to your next project?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, I've always been a fan of Adam's work, and I think he's brilliant. So whenever opportunity I got to just kind of observe him and watch how he does it, he is fully committed when he plays his characters, and that's definitely something I took away from filming this. And also I learned a lot about cinematography and cameras and lenses with the directors, because I love them, but they've got to be the biggest film geeks I've ever met. So they're so passionate when it comes to talking about like old films and the different lenses on cameras. So I definitely learned a lot with them when it comes to film stuff. And then just watching Adam in general, I learned a lot with how much he commits and is in it.
What does it take for you to go out for audition or saying yes? What are the kind of projects you want to go out for?
Yeah, I mean, I think anything that I'm truly passionate about, when I read something and I think it's either unique or original, I'm automatically intrigued, especially if it's a challenge for me. I love a challenge. I love putting myself in situations that I hate. I think it's a really great acting exercise, and it gets me out of my comfort zone. It also just depends on if I automatically feel a connection to the character, if it's something I want if it's something that I want to portray, and if it's a story I want to tell, I'm there for it. Especially if it's someone like Adam Driver I get to work with. It's like, obviously.
You've done well. Congrats on the road. Congrats on the film. We'll talk down the road.
Thank you so much.
Wilson Morales, Black Film and TV. Hey, folks, how's it going?
Hey, good. How are you doing?
Good. Watching a sci-fi is one thing, but watching a sci-fi with just two people is another thing. So how does it put together the story where you only have two characters, along with monsters and CGI and stuff like that?
Oh, and it's quite a challenge to write a story with two characters, but it kind of distills it down to the bare ingredients. So that's what was exciting for us. Brian and I always talk about this movie being a huge canvas movie from the standpoint of it has dinosaurs, but there's also a degree at which it's a character story, and it's about these two characters like trying to come to terms with not only their own survival, but also the different emotions and the loss that they're both feeling and trying to find a human connection in that. So both those ideas were running concurrently, both in the writing and the directing of this film.
Brian, when you have a guy like Adam's caliber, this is something that we haven't seen him do before, which is great because we always want actors to do something different. They can't be one note in every other type of films that they do. So what were you looking to get out of Adam for this one? Brian?
Adam is an actor who challenges himself with every role. He fully commits, right? And his work ethic is second to none. I think with this role, what was unique about it is it's a very internal and very physical performance. And I think he talked a lot about doing like the action scenes and how that was a part of his character arc. Like, in other words, there's a scene in the movie where Koa and Adam get separated, and Adam's racing through a forest, and it's shot all in kind of this like wander through the forest, and he's going to save her. And that wasn't a scene that we talked about in terms of the technical, like, oh, you have to run here and the camera's going to be here. We talked about it in terms of like, in this moment in the film, my character is changing. I am recognizing a part of my older life, and to have an actor of his caliber approach action and stunt work in a movie like this through the filter of character it's so exciting. It's so fun to watch it.
Now, with the stuff you guys have written in the past and directed, obviously there's a similarity somewhere in there. So what goes into this apocalyptic, end of the world, pre-world type of stories you guys put together?
Mm-hmm. Brian and I are lovers and students of genre filmmaking. But, you know, as much as we love big canvas movies, we also love quiet movies. We love, you know, worldwide cinema. And so the blend of those two is always important to us. So, you know, movies like A Quiet Place, where it's a movie about an alien invasion, but it's also a movie about family and being unable to communicate, that feeds its way into 65 just the same, that we want to be able to have this big sandbox where you get to, you know, dream up living in the world of dinosaurs 65 million years ago, but you're also dealing with, you know, the grounded reality of dealing with, you know, the sense of loss and such that every single human being, you know, has encountered, and finding a way to just, you know, tip the balance here and there.
Brian, you want to add anything to it?
I mean, I think well said. And yeah, we just really became enamored with this kind of, almost, if you could do, you know, a Roland Emmerich kind of disaster movie, but
cheaper.
Yeah, but
from these guys.
Yeah, but from the point of view of, you know, from character in a movie that's kind of quiet and intimate and a lot about what's not said and what's not shown and internalized and expressing that through cinema. That was the fun of a project like this. And our whole team, everybody kind of got on board for that. And also we approached it with the spirit of trying to make almost like a transitionary film for young film goers who maybe want to dip their toes in, you know, horror or thrillers and see something scary, but it's not so intense. We hope it's a movie for people of all ages.
With the success you've had so far, you're setting out a new blueprint. Congrats on this movie and what you've done before.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Really
nice
appreciate that.
Appreciate it.